Tonight, Indiana schools get help the same way your printer helps when it jams. The feds shake up law enforcement, while the Fed shakes up interest rates. And yes, data centers. Why that cornfield down the road might soon be an air conditioned warehouse for someone else's cloud. I'm Derrick Holder, and this is Hold 'em Accountable. Welcome back, friends and neighbors. Tonight, we've got the biggest policy stories of the week, Indiana first, then national. And we'll close with a deep dive into data centers. What they are, what's happening here in Indiana and across the country, and what better alternatives might look like. Spoiler, give away farmland and pray is not the best plan. First up, Indiana's new program, Power Up Indiana. $10 million to help employers train workers into high-paying jobs. Sounds good, because who doesn't want to raise? But let's be honest, $10 million across the whole state? That's not power up. That's more like low battery warning. Now, the good news, it actually recognizes underemployment as the real drag. Folks stuck in low-paying jobs with no way up. The risk? If this just turns into a pile of workshops and shiny certificates with no wage increases, it's not Power Up Indiana. It's PowerPoint Indiana. Here's the test. Do wages actually go up? Do the jobs last? If not, congratulations. We just spent $10 million on LinkedIn makeovers. Schools got new laws this year. Starting in 2028, local property taxes must be shared with charter schools. Vouchers expanded again, and third graders who failed the IRE 3 test may be held back. The intent? Better literacy. Noble. But here's the rub. Retention works only if you invest in support. Reading specialists, tutoring, smaller classes. Otherwise, you're just stamping repeat on a kid's file and hoping shame teaches phonics. We can't punish our way into better literacy. We need to support kids, not just scare them. Indiana asked the feds for permission to lump English learner funds into general tuition. Flexibility sounds nice, like a yoga class, but for budget. But here's the risk. When everyone's responsible, no one is accountable. EL students need targeted resources. If you fold that money into the big pot, it might evaporate into overhead. If we consolidate, fine, but demand transparency and track outcomes. Otherwise, English learner students get the short end of the stick. The state has cut back public health programs and eliminated DEI-labeled positions. Maternal health coordinators? Gone. Health equity programs? Rebranded or scrapped. Look, you can roll your eyes at acronyms, but cutting positions focused on infant and maternal health? It's not saving money. That's rolling the dice with lives. Fiscal prudence doesn't mean cutting the smoke detector because batteries are pricey. Finally, healthcare. Federal rule changes may force Indiana to trim eligibility under the Healthy Indiana. At the same time, our Medicaid eligibility manual is being rewritten. That means some families could lose coverage or face more red tape. If the provider tax rug gets yanked out, the state needs a contingency, or hospitals will pass costs to everyone else. Translation: either we pay now through taxes, or we pay later in ER bills. Either way, the bill comes due. On September 10th, America was rocked by the assassination of activist Charlie Kirk. No matter your politics, this is horrifying. Political violence is corrosive. Leaders must de-escalate, period. When rhetoric normalizes threats, some people take the hint. We need bipartisan clarity here. Violence has no place in our politics. End of story. The administration has been sending federal forces and National Guard units into cities. Supporters say it shows strength. Critics say it blurred the line between policing and military. Here's the problem. Once you normalize domestic deployment, it becomes the go-to solution for every crisis. And every governor, mayor, and citizen should be nervous about that precedent. The U.S. military struck Venezuelan boats allegedly tied to drug trafficking. 11 people killed in one strike, others damaged. The question isn't, were they bad guys? It's, are we applying clear standards of evidence and legality? If not, we risk turning counter trafficking into forever skirmishes at sea. At a Senate hearing, FBI Director Kash Patel faced charges of politicizing the investigation. Folks, no matter your party jersey, the FBI needs clear guardrails, independent oversight, inspector general audit, and consequences for over. Trust in law enforcement isn't a vibe, it's a paper trail. Stephen Moran joined the Federal Reserve Board after a narrow vote. Meanwhile, an attempt to remove Lisa Cook was blocked in court. Markets are jittery. Borrowers want rate cuts. Seniors on fixed income still fear inflation. Bottom line, Fed independence matters. Because if we reduce central banking to partisan tug of war, the economy turns into a roller coaster with no brakes. Indiana University revived its old mascot, Hoosier the Bison. The fans went wild, which tells you everything about college sports. Sometimes the costume gets more cheers than the quarterback. But hey, if a giant bison helps unite Hoosiers, maybe we should send him to the legislature. In Muncie's Village, small businesses hosted a music fest right in the middle of road construction. With the streets closed, fans moved into record shops. That's the Indiana spirit. If you can't go around it, you play through it. Honestly, we should hire those business owners to run highway projects. All right, refill that coffee. When we come back, data centers. What they are, what's happening right here in Indiana, what's happening nationwide, and what smarter alternatives look like. Stay tuned. Quick pit stop. Before we go full nerd, hit that like button, subscribe, and smash the bell icon just like it cut you off in traffic. Seriously, it helps the show, and it means you'll never miss an episode, whether I'm ranting about politics, potholes, or whatever else Indiana throws at us. Let's get this straight. Data centers are the warehouses of the internet. They are the cloud's closet, full of servers. They eat electricity, drink water, swallow farmland, and burp out heat and tax debate. The AI boom is supercharging demand. Big tech, Meta, Amazon, Google, Microsoft want sites near power and fiber. States are tripping over themselves to offer tax breaks and land. The stresses, massive power demand, huge water consumption, land use fight, and public financing headache. Cities hand out abatements that last longer than a mortgage. In short, the cloud might live in the sky, but its footprint is on our ground. Meta is building an $800 million campus at River Ridge in Jefferson. Huge land, 100 permanent jobs, tax breaks galore. Amazon Web Services is putting $11 billion into a new car lot, the largest capital investment in state history. 1,000 jobs promised. Also a grid headed. Meta is also in Lebanon's Leap district. 1,400 plus acres, 15 buildings, promises a tax revenue, but locals worry about water and power. Google is eyeing 500 acres in Franklin Township after pushback. Even the school district signed on, citing tax benefits for classrooms. Translation: Indiana is now officially in the data center. Here's where the fight heats up. The Leap District's early plan, a pipeline to siphon water from Lafayette's Wabash River. Locals revolted, plan shifted, but trust was broken. Meanwhile, power. These sites draw more load than full town. Utilities scramble to add substations and high voltage lines. Lead time? Year. Cost? Staggering. Who pays? Usually us. From Monrovia to Lebanon, residents raise alarm. Farmland losses, truck traffic, water scarcity, and whether a couple hundred jobs justify decades of tax breaks. The state waives sales tax exemptions on servers. Counties give away property tax abatement. Counties give away property tax abatement. Tech firms save millions while towns front the infrastructure. the math worth it? Depends who's holding the calculator. Nationally, the story repeats. States racing to give subsidies, utilities straining under AI driven load spikes, communities promise jobs but often seeing low end. Cities call them zombie land use. Huge site, low job, long abatements. The risk? A hollowed out tax base while someone else's cloud grows fat. What are some alternatives? Well, use brownfields and industrial zones with existing power and water, not fresh farmland. Require recycled water, not drinking water. Keep campuses near transmission corridors. No more blanket tax breaks. Tie deals to jobs created. Heat reuse and local procurement. Add clawbacks if promises aren't met. Every project should file 3 documents: a utility capacity plan, water balance sheet, and a public cost ledger. Publish them before votes. Stop hiding behind NDA. If taxpayers pay, taxpayers deserve the detail. Require a community fund for schools and broadband, solar, or storage for resilience, and a decommissioning plan so sites don't become holes in 30 years. Here's my Indiana check. Published water, power, and cost study 30 days before hearing. Tie abatements to milestones, with taxes kicking in by year 10. Mandate recycled water first. Potable only with special approval. Cap peak low. Incentivize renewables and storage. Jobs floor with apprenticeships tied to Ivy Tech and Purdue. Community Impact Fund, dollars per megawatt, indexed to inflation. Annual public audit, promises versus delivery. If we follow this, Indiana can host the future without selling out the present. The cloud may live in the sky, but its footprint is right here on our farmland, our water system, and our power grid. If we can shape it smartly, or wake up and find we built the internet's basement without keeping the deep, Indiana is tough enough, smart enough, and stubborn enough to demand good deals. Let's do that. This has been Hold 'em Accountable. If you're thinking differently or angrier than you were 30 minutes ago, good, share it. I'm Derrick Holder. The lines may be crooked, but your voice doesn't have to be. See you next week.